G'day guys and gal, it's no secret that some Primarchs were more liked than others. Sanguinius was universally loved, Horus universally admired, and Ferris universally respected. At least prior to the heresy. Others were more controversial and had their shares of haters and fans, like Magnus or Jagadai. However, there was a few select Primarchs that nobody liked. Angron, Conrad Kurz, and Roboute Guilliman. Now it's easy to understand why the roid-raging nutjob and the baby-skinning psychopath weren't very popular, but why was the Lord of Ultramar, one of the most effective and successful of all Primarchs, almost universally disliked by all of his brothers prior to the heresy? Why did all the Primarchs hate Roboute Guilliman? Before we get started, you may remember me talking a fair bit about Dice Dioramas last month, my new membership platform where we give away an epic diorama every month. We've given away a 1/6 Titus statue, an epic 29 model Lion vs Angron diorama, and we're now wrapping up building our legendary Rylanor's Last Stand diorama, which I'll share more info on soon. However, the point of this today is that we wanted extra time to finish Rylanor's Last Stand, so we decided the next giveaway would be an absolutely insane $2,000 3,000 point Blood Angel army that we're giving away this Wednesday, midnight Australia time. Now, being a Dice member means you're automatically entered into every single giveaway, with entries based on your membership tier. However, I know that subscriptions can be a bit cringe, so we've just unveiled our new boost feature. You can pay one time and one time only to enter into a specific giveaway. Basically, you can pick what type of boost you want and then which giveaway you want the boost to apply to, and then bang, you'll be entered in with only one purchase, no lock-in. This will also grant you 30 days of Dice membership, which gives you access to our partner discount codes, our private Discord server where we host pro painter workshops, and more. Current members can also use this membership boost feature if they want to stack up some extra entries for a particularly spicy giveaway they're interested in. So if you're a bronze member and you're creaming for a Blood Angel army, you can diamond boost your account to maximize your entries for the month. You can also stack boosts on top of each other if you're really fucking keen for a particular giveaway. But yeah, no more commitment if you don't want to. This is also a great opportunity to try out Dice Dioramas and see if you like the community. You can do a bronze boost for only one $10 payment, get access to the Blood Angel giveaway and other benefits, and then at the end of the 30-day boost period, you can see if you want to stay on or not. But yeah, massive Blood Angel giveaway this Wednesday. Still time to join Dice or get a membership boost for your chance to win. Link below to join or find out more. Today we'll discuss why Guilliman was so disliked by his brothers, both loyalist and traitor. A lot of the focus will be pre-heresy, as obviously post-heresy the hatred is more understandable. Let's get into it. In terms of the Primarchs, Guilliman was about as close to a perfect son as could be. He was a disciplined commander, a great statesman, a fair ruler, and basically did everything right in terms of by the book. Now you may know people like this in your life, maybe not Primarch tier, but everyone who seems to get everything right and succeed because it seems like God is on their side or something. There's also a chance you likely resent or dislike these people, maybe out of jealousy, maybe because you think they're a self-righteous, arrogant, entitled dick. This was Guilliman to a lot of his brothers. G-Man also lacked a lot of flair and spark that the Primarchs respected. They were diverse, flawed, and mighty warrior demigods. They respected strength. To them, Guilliman was a pencil humper that fought war as a distant, cold, math-loving commander, not as a legendary war leader taking the field of battle and becoming a legend of myth. Now, the Emperor low-key disliked Guilliman as well, despite being impressed with his record and empire. However, not all Primarchs disliked Guilliman for the same reason, so let's check them out one by one. The Lion was not much of a fan of G-Man until later in the heresy. Both Primarchs were rivals as their crusade records were on par with each other in terms of compliances. The Lion was more dashing, mysterious, and legendary, making Guilliman quite jealous of him. When G-Man saw the Lion during the heresy, he noticed that the Lion was slightly taller. In return, the Lion had thousands of Dark Angels waiting in drop pods in orbit, waiting for the order to rain down and destroy the Ultramarines, as he did not trust that Guilliman wasn't using the heresy as an excuse to make Ultramar independent. The Lion saw Guilliman as superficial and trying too hard to seem perfect. Many of the Primarchs also saw G-Man as dull and boring, no excitement, just an automata. However, in truth, the Lion did also secretly harbour admiration and jealousy for Guilliman. There was a lot of tension between the two during Imperium Secundus, and they raged at each other multiple times. However, by the end of Secundus, they were extremely close and had nothing but respect for each other after going through so much together, lending credit to the theory that the Primarchs that disliked Guilliman were the ones that knew him the least. Fulgrim found Guilliman to be extremely dull and boring, which is no surprise. Whilst Fulgrim wanted to make a show of everything, Guilliman wanted to achieve success in the most practical, straightforward way possible. However, Fulgrim was also jealous of Guilliman. Whilst the Ultramarines were dominating the galaxy, the Emperor's children were just barely getting started due to their gene seed issues. So combining Fulgrim finding G-Man lame with jealousy makes for a toxic level of resentment. Just before Fulgrim and Guilliman were to battle post-heresy, Fulgrim said that whilst he found Guilliman dull, he was the best of them, showing that whilst they may not like him, many Primarchs begrudgingly respected what he had achieved. Perturabo hates everyone, including himself, so I would say that also extends to G-Man. However, surprisingly, Guilliman was one of the Primarchs Perty hated the least, likely because their attitudes were so similar. The most practical approach to victory is was the best. Neither had much desire to waste resources on flair or style points, with Purdy actually building a magnificent clock tower on Macragge for Guilliman. Even in the current setting and post-heresy, Perturabo hasn't directed much attention towards sabotaging or invading Macragge, perhaps out of a subconscious respect for Guilliman, so yeah, surprisingly, Purdy didn't actually seem to mind him. The Khan and Guilliman didn't understand each other very well, nor did they speak or hang out much. Guilliman was rigid, the Khan was like the wind. They were almost as opposite as physically possible. Despite this, Guilliman admired the hell out of the Khan, but we don't know how the Khan felt. However, it's likely that he liked some things about Guilliman, like his empire being founded on respect for its people, whilst he disliked other things, such as the predictability and rigidity of the Ultramarines. Now, whilst Russ was definitely one of the Primarchs that found Guilliman and his methods of war boring, they actually got along pretty well. Guilliman thought Russ was awesome, and that his loyalty to the Emperor shamed the rest of them. Guilliman was envious of Russ's free spirit, and how he just said what he wanted all the time, whilst Guilliman was always playing the role of the political statesman who had to measure every word and sentence. There's a lot of examples of Guilliman liking Russ and speaking highly of him. Not too many the other way round, but we can assume they got on well, and it's not just Guilliman sucking up to a brother that despised him. We can for sure say that Guilliman and Dorn got along great. Both were considered boring and dull by many of their brothers, as both were practical and sensible, traits which made them extremely effective Primarchs. Post-heresy, they disagreed a lot about what direction the Imperium should take, which definitely hurt their relationship. However, Guilliman trusted Dorn's capabilities as Defender of Terra, and Dorn was confident that when Guilliman arrived, they would crush the traitors between the hammer and anvil. Guilliman also stated that amongst all the Primarchs, Dorn was one of the few he would consider as a friend. There was a lot of respect there. Conrad did not like Guilliman at all, but that's not really a hot take. He once called him the Avenging Bean Counter as a dig of Guilliman being mostly concerned with the theory of war instead of actual war itself. Conrad terrorized Macragge for a while, partly out of practicality, but mostly to fuck with Guilliman's perfect empire and expose its flaws. Guilliman was everything that Conrad despised, a perfect leader of a perfect empire. As long as Guilliman existed, it showed Conrad the potential that he was the problem, and that if he could be better, he could have achieved just as much as Guilliman. Conrad couldn't face that truth, so he was hellbent on proving it wrong. Sanguinius was one of the few Primarchs Guilliman listed as a genuine friend, with Sanguinius loving him in return. However, there was a fair bit of tension between the two during Imperium Secundus, where Guilliman forced Sanguinius to become the new emperor out of practical need, which while Sangi understood, he still resented the role. However, by the end of the Secundus situation, they had grown even closer. Guilliman was shattered when he found out about Sanguinius' death. Sanguinius, being as perceptive and empathetic as he was, would have understood Guilliman and his desire to do good through overachieving as a great character trait as opposed to Guilliman trying to show off. Ferrus and Guilliman were actually very close. Whenever the Iron Hands and Ultramarines fought together, Ferrus felt like they were invincible and synergized fantastically. Although Ferrus didn't like to publicly admit his affection to anyone, he made it clear that he loved his brother. Guilliman felt the same way. When he found out that Vulcan, Corvus, and Ferrus had been crushed at Isvan and were likely all dead, he said he missed Ferrus the most. Overall, bittersweet. Angron and Guilliman despised each other. G-Man saw Angron as a mindless living weapon that had no purpose beyond war and death. Angron saw Guilliman as an arrogant wanker who thought he was better than everyone else. Just as bad as the High Riders who enslaved Angron when he was young. Going to war with each other didn't make things any better, with Angron attempting to viciously kill his brother who he saw as weak. Mortarion didn't have particularly strong feelings towards Guilliman pre-heresy, as Guilliman was not a psyker. Mortarion just thought he was dull and boring. However, with the Plague Wars in the recent setting, the brothers have formed an intense hatred of each other as they fought to destroy each other. When Mortarion found out Guilliman was being revived, he didn't take it too seriously, and he said he would have preferred a different, more interesting loyalist Primarch to return, like the Lion. Magnus and G-Man got on quite well pre-heresy. They were both quite progressive and shared a love of knowledge and learning. Prospero and Macragge were both shining beacons of what the Imperium could be after the wars were over. However, Guilliman became disgusted with Magnus after Magnus showed no self-control and dived too deep into the warp. After this, Guilliman thought Magnus was too arrogant. Magnus thought Guilliman was insignificant and weak and had no right to look down on him. Let's just say that post-Great Crusade, Magnus was an extremely insecure man. Pre-heresy, Horus and Guilliman got along great, with Horus being only one of 4 Primarchs G-Man considered a friend. Although their friendship vanished during the heresy, they still respected each other's supreme commanding abilities, with Horus being extremely wary of the threat of the Ultramarines, whilst Guilliman carefully considered each and every move he made against Horus, knowing his brother was brilliant at war. They never seemed to develop an intense hatred of each other, with Horus believing that upon killing the Emperor, Guilliman would bend the knee to him. A delusional thought perhaps, born of a subconscious desire to have Guilliman on his side. On the other hand, Guilliman and Lorgar hated each other, but it wasn't always so. Guilliman pitied Lorgar and his religious fanaticism. Lorgar thought Guilliman hated him, and he thought the Lord of Ultramar took pleasure in the raising of Monarchia. As such, Lorgar hated Guilliman with every fibre of his being. Hence, Lorgar was shocked and mortified when he finally faced Guilliman in battle, only to realize that G-Man never despised Lorgar until Lorgar attacked Ultramar. Lorgar realized that he, not G-Man, was the true asshole and he felt shame. However, they were way way too far gone to ever reconcile, and both brothers will hate each other for the rest of their long lives. Guilliman and Vulcan didn't spend super long together at any point during the series. When Vulcan arrived in Macragge, he was insane and then dead, so we didn't even see them speak. However, with Vulcan's steadfastness, kindness, and good heart, I can't see why they wouldn't have gotten along. Corvus respected Guilliman greatly. When the two were playing simulated mock battles, Corvus managed to win the first few battles via using tactics Guilliman didn't expect, such as the power of civilian insurgents. However, Guilliman soon adapted, and Corvus could never beat him again. Corax also agreed with Guilliman's plan to break up the legions into chapters after the heresy, so whilst they don't seem like beer buddies, I'd say overall they liked each other enough. Guilliman and Alfarius hated each other. G-Man believed the Alpha Legion were a bunch of backstabbing, dishonorable cowards who overcomplicated things, whilst the Alpha Legion saw the Ultramarines as a bunch of predictable douchebags. The Alpha Legion loved fucking with the Ultramarines and found them easy to infiltrate. Neither Primarch respected the other, even prior to the Horus heresy, both believing their methods of war were flawed. So overall, only 4 or 5 Primarchs were on good terms with G-Man prior to the heresy. He pissed off most of them at some point or another, and whilst he managed to end up forming a good bond with almost all loyalist Primarchs, the traitors despised the shit out of him, with Magnus, Fulgrim, and Mortarion all having a big crack at ending his life at some point or another. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then join Dice Dioramas via becoming a member or taking advantage of our new membership boost for your chance to win $2,000 worth of Blood Angels, or in the near future, a legendary Rylan Orvis Fulgrim diorama. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.